Hello, everybody, and welcome to Clown World News. It's your host, Benjamin Towles, and today I wanted to talk about a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Is this new age people keep adopting traditional Christian value cosmetics, and the new age demon worshiping people, all the organically fooled and the nefariously subvertive types in the new age have now started to read the writing on the walls, and that people don't really like the idea of being associated with Satan, even as a joke. Like, it used to just be like edgy middle school humor to just be like, haha, hail Satan. But then nowadays people are not really down with that. You know what I'm saying? Much less so than in the past. I feel like somebody showed me a documentary. It was about the modern day Church of Satan and how they're actually misunderstood and blah blah. And I watched it because I try to watch when people want to make a good point, and it wasn't a good point. I watched it and it was just like, these are just the biggest losers I've ever seen. These are all dorks and just fucking pedophiles and just gay women, but not good. Not women. There needs to be another word for bitch, perhaps, but bitch doesn't quite cut it. What's a word? Witch? Yeah, witches. But then there was like this. You remember, like, movies like Practical Magic came out, and then now women, ever not now, but since Practical Magic and Harry Potter and other things, witches is now seen like a good thing. Like, there's good witches and bad witches, and so you want to be a good witch. I feel like the word witch never really implied good ever. Maybe I'm seeing if I'm talking with my hands just to see if I'm secretly gay or something. But there's a lot, like, there's warlocks, there's wizards, there's witches, but like, is there not? There's sorceresses, and I feel like I've been hearing sorceresses used negatively, but I think that might be a better, one who works with the source. Like Friday, the term Friday, the day is based off of Freya, a Nordic goddess, and she was essentially the witch. She's like the ultimate role model, positive role model for girls who are slipping away into New Age. And like the whole New Age community, I don't know if you know anything about it, but I know a lot about it, and it's like they're just dorks, man. They're just live action role playing dorks. I know that maybe like super religious people sound similar if you're super religious, but like, I don't know, you could have long debates with somebody who's like a Bible scholar about the validity of the Bible and what it could mean, and then you can get even deep with that. Oh, what is the message though? What's the wisdom in it? Here's the one collective, agreed upon message. Essentially, you can interpret it different ways, but in the new age world, it's literally just like you're shopping, and then you just pick whatever you want. You're gonna pick a little bit of that today. Let's get a little bit of astrology, none of the good shit. Let's get some numerology. Let's go ahead and throw some beads in. Let's just do, is there anything that can allow me to participate in a group setting but be sexy at the same time, like what we did to Halloween? Is there anything for that for me in the new age? And there is. It's called ecstatic dance, and you can wiggle and shake your body in the center of a room while everybody cheers you on. And for some reason, can you believe it? That relaxes people in a way. That sort of cathartic, whatever the, oh my god, I'm trying really hard not to like fully just make fun of all this shit, because there is an element of truth in a lot of it. Like ecstatic dance, you've seen the military talk about their research into TRE, where you lay on the ground, you like shake all your bones or whatever they say animals do it, and like that apparently helps, I don't know, loosen your goose. It lets the blood flow better. It's like massages your joints all at once. It's just, I don't know, it's like purring but for humans. So if you wiggle around a bunch, especially if you haven't been moving a lot, like exercise and movement, sports, all stuff like that, is really, really healthy for the body. So assuming you've both never moved around a lot, like maybe you have a sedentary job where you're sitting down and you don't get a lot of social attention. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you were the ugly girl in middle school and high school, and then later on you found yourself in circles where suddenly you were the hottest girl in a 2 mile radius. Ecstatic dance could be for you. That could be the perfect thing for you to feel good about yourself afterwards. Me personally, I just think that in the new age world, there's a whole lot of creepy men and women, both and women. There's some weird women out there too, but creepy. There's some sexual undertones going on in a lot of these groups where it's like you read about a festival and they'll say there'll be a big picture of Jesus on the poster, and they'll say, "Oh, come join us on the whatever the celestial movement of the stars." I'm sorry that I don't have these words prepared. I was just kind of trying to let it flow. And that you need to come to our festival because we worship, we look up to and admire Jesus, like one of the many ascended masters. And then right next to Jesus' picture is a picture of Vishnu, and next to that is a picture of Satan or Lucifer, and he's like super blonde and has blue eyes. And we're like, thanks for that one, guys. Thank you for adopting what Louis Farrakhan thinks about white people as a main tenet in your religious beliefs. But what I'm getting at is that there's no real unifying doctrine in any of these new age things. It's just pick and choose. It's whatever you want. And when they host these events, they often have things like, don't bring kids because after hours it's going to be who knows what could happen. Just let the spirit flow through you. And maybe we shouldn't be letting spirits just flow through us. Maybe that's a weird, like, heebie-jeebie psychological trick, like therapy type, MK Ultra to get you to fucking be a hoe. Maybe that's what it is. You'll oftentimes see um, in the past, like people who get pushed in one direction end up going really hard in the over direction to compensate. So, like, if you grew up with like rough, tough parents, then maybe you'll be like a loosey goosey person, or maybe if you grew up with loosey goosey parents, you become a super hard edged to like compensate for that. And I sort of see a little bit of this steering wheel overcorrecting balancing act going on in the new age world, where it's seeming to attract, especially this new version, this new genre that I'm talking about. It's the new age wearing the cosmetic cloak of Christianity traditionalism. It is not Christianity. It is. You ever seen Holy Mountain? There's a movie Holy Mountain, and in it, Jesus wakes up in a factory and he looks around, and the factory makes crucifixes and like the candles and all that shit. And he looks around and he sees all the shit that people made and they're selling about him, and he just starts crying. I feel like all that shit that he was crying about is the shit that these people love because it's something that they can buy and they can own and wear and post on their stories or be out in public and tell everybody, look, I found spirituality. I'm no longer that hoe I used to be. I'm no longer that douchebag. I'm whatever. I found God now. You can tell because I wear crucifixes and because I have 5 crucifixes in my house like some Hispanic household. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe not everybody knows what I'm talking about, but I've sensed it. And it's, to me, it's the spooks. If I want to go full schizo, it's spooks. Because I've been in some of these circles and I've kept my eyes, in my pattern recognition, and they seem like they glow a little bit. Like wherever this is all coming from, top down funding, whatever you want to call it, it seems like it is an element, an extension of the COINTELPRO, where even on a micro level, like in just the New Age community, seeing that the people, because the New Age community is tied very closely to like the truther community, it's tied very closely to people who want to go off the grid, anti-government sentiments. It's tied to a lot of stuff like that. And so there is a lot of overlap with, like, I don't know, maybe some base takes. Maybe it's not a demon that's floating around in the corner of your house and that you need to sage it out. Maybe that's not why you're sad. Maybe you're sad because fractional reserve interest loan banking cartels have completely graped your economy and taken everything from you that should be yours, your rightful inheritance. Maybe that's why. But no, we can't talk about that because the Leviathan demon from the Bible is in the corner of the room. And we have to figure out a way to rearrange the crystals in the room to be able to do something about that. Now, full disclaimer, I totally believe in astrology. I believe in numerology. I think there's so many weird shits there. But when I listen to what the crystal bitches have to say about numerology or astrology, damn, it feels like every week there's intense energies and something is unfolding. Something is coming out of its shell. Something is being birthed every fucking time. Every time. There's no miss. It's the same thing. And then if you just type in astrology into Google or your Instagram or anything like that, the content you see is the most griftery, basic ass crystal bitch content that could exist. And like, seeing something that is such an old idea get shit on so much, like it is easy to make fun of because they are really retarded. To see that triggered a red flag in me that maybe there's something there. So I dive into it and I try to use my full autistic brain power, just full on. Can I figure this out? Is there anything here? And it turns out I think there is something there. There's some weird shit there. I don't know what it is. Is it just that like there's no such thing as infinity, and because of that there's no such thing as truly random, and because we can't have truly random, that just means that anything that we see as random is really just too many complex steps of cause and effect that are outside our bandwidth of comprehension, and that maybe if you studied a little bit of it you could start to see patterns emerge. Maybe I like numerology and astrology. I like doing it myself, but I don't. I I think most people who sell services and who do stuff like that, like GG33, he's kind of cringy, right? He's the numerology dude who's always flexing money and talking to hoes on his podcast. That guy's super douchey, super annoying. He kind of has some connections to some weird. There's a lot of connections. Weird in general. If you want to think about like psyops and like how far along are we on the total on their agenda, on their total control of us. I think that they've had total control for many generations now, and that they've grown because they're fertility cults, so they fuck all the time. So they have illegitimate sons. I think Matthew McConaughey is Woody Harrelson's son, last time I checked. Like, that's crazy. And a lot of them, they can't even have kids because they're dudes dressed up like women. And so they have to, like, steal kids, or they have to, like, have surrogate births or all this weird shit. Like, I know that Beyonce wasn't pregnant. So what's up with that? Is Beyonce even a girl? I don't even know anymore, man. I know Taylor Swift is probably, maybe, probably. I've heard things, and then you connect dots, and then you start getting too deep, and then before you know it, you're gonna get invited to some Dragon Fest fuck festival where there's a cuddle party at night, and you're supposed to just cuddle, but there's also a note under that that says that clothing is optional. Just let the energy flow. And if anyone's ever seen Wild Wild Country, if you haven't seen that documentary, I think it's on Netflix. Highly recommend that documentary. Should be required viewing for many reasons: for civics, for politics, and for what the fuck is wrong with New Age people. As soon as people start a cult, they just start banging. They just start banging everybody. It's like the only thing they could think about. It's like everyone wants a genie, but nobody really thinks about really what would you wish for. And then if you actually thought about it, a lot of these elite people, what they would wish for is just banging more people. They just want to bang everybody. They don't even care. So I don't think that there's much credence to any of this new age gumbly glook, except for the stuff that overlaps with like any sort of basic off the grid truther movement. It really sucks hearing how every single thing that you used to use is now bad for you. I can't use anything. What am I supposed to touch? What am I supposed to eat? I can't touch the receipt paper. I just got to leave it there, but I got to be nice, but I got to tip everybody. But even when they put the thing in my face, but I don't have to tip the people at Whataburger and they're working way fucking harder. How do I do this? Why is everything a public humiliation ritual? Why do they have to fucking point the tip thing in front of your face, in front of everybody? Why are we doing that? Why? Why is there not a leaderboard that shows how much I've tipped over my whole life? And instead of instead of me giving you a zero now for being rude and interrupting my conversation with your EMF screen. But there's I digress. I'm just saying, I'm warning you, this is a bad video. But I'm warning you. There's a new age movement. I think the hippie movement and the new age, the early new age movement, I believe that was spook centered. It was like pushed by spooks to be subversive. Do you guys know JP Morgan's daughter was like one of the big ones to push for women's right to vote? Just think about it. It's just a thought. It's a thought. Why is it that every time there's some weird subversive movement that wants to shake up the status quo, it's always presented in movies, and there's a fuck ton of movies about all this shit and TV miniseries and shit, how great and wonderful it is. But then when you look behind it, it's just like a fucking like laundry list, like checklist of just, oh, Rockefeller, JP Morgan, heebie jeebie, a cult. What the fuck's up with that? Why is Jack Parsons one of the leading NASA early OGs? Why if I Google him is they don't even hide it. He's like an open occultist. Like what's up with that? Well, we just thinking that like those dudes who believe in like Leviathan spirits in the corner would have more mathematical prowess than the people who don't believe that there's Leviathan. Maybe there are Leviathan demons in the corner. I'm not, I don't know. But I just think like it's weird to me that when I debate space or NASA or anything with people who I consider to be real intelligent, so it's a good conversation, that they often don't realize that a lot of the people that created their entire side of the debate are types of people who believe openly in things that I don't think they would, I think they would make fun of it. I think they would see that as real stupid and odd. That's weird. And why is NASA Hebrew for to deceive? But it's not quite, but it is quite enough. And why is that? Why is the synchronicity meter been turned to racist? Why is that? Why is everything racist comedy is now how I know God's talking to me? Because I see shit. Okay, yeah. Anyways, this is a long video. Sorry, I didn't want to make it any longer. The New Age. They're moving and they're going to start adopting Christian values. Just watch. Just watch them. And here's the thing. When they found the New Age, what they liked about it was, I think, like the structure and ritual and the rigmarole or the panache associated with it. So when they come over and become traditional Christian LARPers or whatever, they will also carry that weird sort of fascination with the dogma, the dogmatic rituals, and the sort of any movie like Stigmata, any movie like Seven, anything like like the ones that show like what heaven's like, and there's always like I don't know, there's like multicultural angels, and I just saw Good Fortune. It's not a great movie, but it's not a bad movie. It's a movie. It's a movie with your family, and it does have the funny thing of it makes a pretty nice point of if you try to switch people's lives like a poor person with a rich person, would the poor person realize that the rich person's life actually sucks and that they really wanted to be who they were all along, the poor person? They were happier being poor. And this movie kind of says, no, that wouldn't be the case. If you took a poor person and you gave them a rich person's life, they would love it. It would be awesome to show that fractional reserve interest in banking is actually the number one threat to all of society, that and bad parenting. But I think it's related. Why aren't they proposing? Why aren't people getting married? Why aren't people having kids? Because there's just not enough money. There's just not enough money to do it. I'm sorry. There's not enough. You need so much money. And there's no way to get like good income money these days. All that's bad. It's just the prospects are bad. You have to get real creative and clever to be able to make it work in a way that seems fitting to the fair to the child, etc. But then we watch true crime, and then I'm seeing all these people who are just they're down on they're in the lower strain, and they have kids constantly, and their kids are fine, and they get true crimed, so like they get taken out, but their kids are fine. Maybe I don't know. I just don't want that for my kids, and I understand why people aren't having kids. And it's because of fractional reserve, heebie-jeebie banking, international cartels, and it's all related. Everything's connected. They've had a lot of time to think about this. The idea that like this is all some organic like back and forth between multiple factions, it's plausible. Don't delete that tab. But if I was in charge of an evil organization and I was evil, I could figure it out. I could come up with some ideas, and they wouldn't just have me. They'd have like hundreds of me over hundreds of years. They would have had time to think about it. They probably figured it out. If you have AI, there's no way that we have an AI that they have now. There's no way. I think like Sam Hyde maybe or Elon or others, some have said this, and I just don't buy it. There's no way that we have the cutting edge technology. So if they've had AI for so long, you can see how they'd use the soulless robot to create some simulation of like what they would have to do to condition us and what we would do, what to look out for. And if you had enough variables and you had enough time, of course you could figure this out. So be on the lookout. You're probably going to see a bunch of these weird, like it's basically like Christians, open Christians who make Christians look either annoying, cringy, or retarded. And you're going to see a lot of that because there's going to be a desire, a push over in that direction. And, you're going to see probably even there'll be a fucking, uh, a Good Friday themed Skittles bag. Like there was the gay Skittles. There might be that kind of cross promotional interaction. I don't know. It feels like it's coming. It feels like there's a big one coming. The Crystal Bitches that I listened to some forecasts from the Crystal Bitches. You know, you gotta stay in touch with informants. And the Crystal Bitches tell me that on the 12th of December, the second week of December, we're going to have a 9/11 scale false flag. I'm thinking cyber attack. I don't know. I don't know. The amount of times that I've heard somebody say this date, this is going to happen, and then nothing happens. And then I talk to them and they're like, oh, but you didn't see? In Thailand, there was a jungle that the river overflowed and the bridge got taken down. Like 10 people died. And no offense to those 10 people, but I don't know if that's a big one. I don't know if I need to be subscribed to all these news feeds from the ether. So, I don't know. Take everything you heard with a grain of salt. I really have no idea what I'm talking about. Maybe they're just good intended Christians and they just really enjoy the panache about it all. Maybe they just really enjoy the aesthetic. Crosses are cool. Crosses are tight. Crosses are tight. You gotta let people know. Gotta let them know. But I don't know if it's necessary. I don't think you need it. I don't think you need any of that stuff. And I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't have it. What I am saying is, if somebody goes around selling it, if somebody goes around and creates some sort of, I don't know, tax loophole, something's weird there. So just be careful about the heebie-jeebies out there. There's a lot of heebie-jeebies out there, and they're doing things, and they're getting closer and closer to you because they've had a lot of time to think about it. Do not underestimate your enemy. Your enemy has a lot of you in them, and they have that part of you that's smart and clever. So, you know, don't let them outsmart and clever you. They're going to be doing some at least 6 DHS. I don't know about 40, but 6. So take it with a grain of salt. Be a good person, and peace. Call your mom, dad, family. Call your favorite. Call your senator. Do they? I don't. That's probably stupid. Call anyone. Call now. I'll call now. Tomorrow's going to be another scorcher. Cool. You said you'd call tomorrow. I'll call now. You'll call now. If anyone knows what that's from, all right, let me know. All right, peace. Be a good person. All the good stuff.